Hey guys, Brian here from 5 to Go. Aaron and all of the kids are away at a birthday party, so I'm here all by myself. So what am I going to do? I'm going to play with some gear. So I decided to pull out everything I've got and walk you through everything we use to make our vlogs. And we also picked up the new GoPro Hero 7 Black. So I'm going to give you my impressions on this and show you some of the stuff I filmed with it yesterday. And I think it's pretty cool. And I'm also going to tell you guys why we picked up this particular camera. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so first and foremost, we have a lot of stuff. It takes a lot to put a vlog together. I mean, you can use just, the cell phone that's in your pocket, and that's kind of what we started out doing. But as hopefully you've seen over the 55 episodes I think we have, things have gotten better. Things have been looking better, things have been sounding better, I've been getting better at editing. So we've kind of acquired some gear along the way. So I'm just going to kind of run through the small stuff real quick, and then we'll get to the bigger stuff. And the one thing you don't see out here right now is that camera right there that I'm talking to. The workhorse in our arsenal is the Canon T7i, and we have a variety of lenses that we use with it. I've got the wide-angle lens on it right now, the 10 to 18 millimeter. That's what we use for most of our vlogging because you can have it up close and you'll still get a wide angle, so you'll see us and what's going on around us. We have a couple other lenses that we use every once in a while. We've got a Prime 50. Don't use it much for video, use it a lot for photography, and all of you guys that have Prime 50s will know why. We have the kit lens that came with it. It's a 18 to 55. I don't use it too much. It gets me a little farther out, but in general the quality of the glass isn't that great. It was a kit lens, so it is what it is. And then this monster right here is the 75 to 300. Now 300 millimeters is pretty far away. 75 is not too bad. It's a little closer in, but you'll get some good depth of field. But the 300 millimeters is really kind of ridiculous. It's almost useless with video because every little shake, even on a tripod, any little breeze, you're going to see every little shake in it. So I'm going to drop some video in that we took at Niagara Falls. I used this lens a lot. I mean, look at this. That's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. So at Niagara Falls, it was cool because I set it up on the tripod and aimed it down at the water. Aaron and the girls were going out on one of the Maid of the Mist boats. So I was able to get some shots of the boats, but as you can see, any little movement, like it was kind of windy. I was out on a point above the elevators that go down to the boats, and any little movement of the wind or someone walking by, even on a concrete structure, like you could see the vibration in there. So not going to use this one too much. More just for static shots, but I love using telephoto to shoot closer subjects because then the whole background just gets completely blown out, which just looks great. It looks very cinematic. Also with the Canon, we have we started off with the GorillaPod, which is that really popular one that has like all the little knobbins and balls going up it, and you can bend it and move it around whatever shape. Ours broke, and I didn't like how it broke. Like it just broke from normal use. Like one of the little ball segments cracked and it wouldn't stay up, like you'd be holding it and it would just go. This one's kind of neat because as you can see, the legs aren't segmented. It's just like big bendy cable almost. See that? It's kind of neat. And I like it because there's nowhere for it to break in here. And you can even like twist it up to make it really strong. It's kind of cool. So this is very sturdy. I like this thing. I don't know if I'll go back to a GorillaPod, maybe if they have a bigger one that doesn't break. Saw a lot of reviews about them breaking, so I'm going to steer clear of them for now. Also with the Canon, ND filters, right? Those are handy. Also have a monopod. It's like a tripod, but it's got one leg. You might think that's kind of silly because you stand it up and it'll just fall over, but the whole point is when you're standing still and you want a nice steady shot from a camera like that, you just telescope this guy out. I need it about here. And then you have the camera up on top here, and you can hold it. and it'll just be nice and steady. So your arm's not out there getting exhausted. You're just holding on to this one point. And it's also cool if you want to do kind of some weird motion shots. Like I know in the tour video part 2, when I was filming the bathroom and some of the other rooms, I would have the camera up on top here, and then I would just kind of lean into it. And it makes kind of a smooth, just a slight little panning shot. It's kind of neat. So that's the monopod. It is very large to carry around, because this particular model, even collapsed all the way, is this long. So when this thing's attached to the bottom of the camera, it takes up a lot of room in the truck. It's really annoyingly obvious when you're out in public. Also up on top here, I have a ball head. So you just loosen it and you can change it to whatever angle you want it to be at. That's separate from the monopod, so I can put that on a tripod or whatever I want. The camera that I'm using right now is also on a big sturdy tripod. I have this older one over here. It's really, really skinny and is fine for like a GoPro or, you know, putting your phone on a little mount. But for the DSLR, I mean, it only weighs, what, 2 pounds and change maybe? But it's still, just for this, it's too floppy, especially putting a longer lens on it, it wants to tip over. So I went with a beefier one. I think it's the Amazon Basics one. Again, all the links are down below. And this one, just much beefier. It's bigger to carry around, but I kind of know when I'm going to need a tripod, so it's worth it to carry it. I'll show you a little later on the microphone that I use, and also a little quick connect system that I have set up for use with that camera bag over there. But we'll get to that in a minute, because I got to use one of these to film that. Alright, now moving on from the Canon, I've got a couple GoPros. So I've got the GoPro Session, the Hero 4 Session. It's the tiny little cube one. Looks like this. We use that basically as a dash cam, and I also use it for time lapses. I'll put it out on this little kind of knockoff GorillaPod, and I can just set it out, get a time lapse. It's really nice because it's waterproof, so we've used it in pools and in rivers and like splash parks and stuff, so we're not worried about it getting wet. And it's great for time lapses because if it starts raining, I don't have to run out and grab it. This is a lot less noticeable. I've actually left it sitting on top of the truck when we go out and do stuff, just to get like a nice nature time lapse. I would never do that with the big camera because that thing would walk away. This thing, you don't really see it unless you're looking for it. And also hanging it in the dash. We like having it for shooting out the front of the truck, but when we turn it around to do talking to it, the audio, it's just not there. And it has been replaced by this guy. This is the GoPro Hero 7 Black. Just came out last week. This thing, I've got a cool little mini handle and tripod for it as well. But this thing, most of you probably know, this is kind of a groundbreaking model for GoPro. It has 4K and it'll shoot in 60 frames per second with their new hypersmooth technology. That's ridiculous. It will also shoot in 1080 at 240 frames per second, which I'm really looking forward to because I can do really slow stuff like this. Or if the kids are playing around, I can get really slow stuff like this. Now those shots are awesome and they look amazing and they're super, super slow. This is only $400. If I wanted to get 240 frames per second in full 1080 HD on a DSLR like the one I'm using now, the body alone would be near $2,000. So this is frankly ridiculous. I can't use any of my lenses on this. Obviously it's stuck with the one lens. You can change some of the aspect ratio on it as you're using it. You can also switch between frame rates, and it has time-lapse modes and night-lapse modes, and it's got all sorts of options in here. I still need to do a lot more playing with it. I've only really had yesterday to play with it. The main reason we got this was because we're going to be spending 3 months down in Orlando, and we're going to be going to all the parks down there. Now, I don't want to carry around the DSLR, and I don't want to rely just on my phone because it's very shaky, and also the battery would be toast, and you can't really swap out batteries in a phone. So I went with this basically for the high frame rate that it'll shoot, as well as the size of it and the hypersmooth technology. Because I have a gimbal for my phone. That's this huge thing right here, and I'll talk about this in just a minute. So in order to have stable footage from my phone, I have to have the phone in the gimbal on and powered, so that's another device to charge. And it's also big and unwieldy, and a lot of times at the parks they don't allow anything closely resembling a selfie stick. I am slightly nervous about this little thing, but I hope because it's basically a handle and it doesn't really like extend my arm very much, that it'll be okay. But without this, without a gimbal, without any external technology, this thing, I can run after my children and hold it down and just be moving and not have to worry too much about holding it super, super steady, and it comes out like buttery smooth. I filmed Brooke running around yesterday with this. Check it out. That is awesome. That is straight out of the camera. I have done no smoothing to it. I've done no post-processing to it. That is just shooting this at 1080-60 with the hyper smooth stabilization on. It's amazing. So this thing is going to be my workhorse at the parks. I've got one extra battery right now in addition to the one that's inside of it. I'm probably going to get another battery or two, and then an extra card and an extra case and some other small accessories, and this is all I'm going to carry into the parks. I'm not going to bring the big camera. Of course I'm going to have my phone, but I'm not going to have the gimbal. Certainly not going to have a monopod or a tripod or any of that big stuff. We've heard a lot of the reviews online. The audio in this is far, far, far better than the previous two models, the 5 and 6 Heroes. You could put external mics on those older models, but I've heard it was just really not great. This one also is fully waterproof without an external case. So even without this little case, this just gets the mount, the little GoPro kind of prong mount thing on the bottom. But this is it right here. This is the whole thing. It does everything I need. It has replaceable batteries, so I can just make sure the batteries are charged and I can just carry them in my pocket. The cards go in the bottom. It's awesome. So I'm really looking forward to using this. And it's fully waterproof, no external connections. Super, super excited about using this guy. I'm going to get a bunch more footage and hopefully be showing that off a lot more in upcoming vlogs. And also, down at Disney, expect a lot more vlogs. I think we're going to do at least 3 videos a week, if not 4, 5, or more. We're going to be at the parks a lot, so this thing, hopefully this thing lasts for a long time because it's going to get used a ton. Okay, so now a couple other little fiddly things before we get back to the big camera. This was the gimbal that I use with my phone, so I'm just going to talk about it real quick while I put it together. So basically how this works is there is a motor inside of this that moves these arms automatically. See how these arms are all really floppy? When I turn it on, get it oriented the right way. Oop. There we go, it's that way. So watch this, when I turn it on, you see how it's all floppy right now? Alright, now it's on. So you see, I can move this around like this, and it keeps that camera really, really steady. So that's pretty cool. So let me turn this on and show you. Vector's seeing something out the window here. So here's with the gimbal, and there's the rig that I'm filming on right now. I can go up and down, I can move it around, we can do a little rotating shot. So the gimbal's nice, it keeps it very smooth. This one even has a little control, you can move it up and down manually. So it's neat, it's very cool. However, like I was saying before, it's a whole nother device to keep charged. It's big, it's not particularly heavy, but it is something that I don't think will be allowed in the parks. It's certainly not waterproof. It was not particularly expensive. It was only $100, which is a lot cheaper than like the DJI version, and there's a couple other ones out there that are a lot more expensive. So with the GoPro, the new Hero 7 Black, this thing's basically obsolete. Also here I've got a little memory card holder. This thing lives in my bag. My bag's over there, we'll open that up in a second. I've got all the little GoPro mounts, you know, all of these guys. I've also got battery here for the GoPro, battery here for the big camera. Got this little guy right here. There are some people that swear by egg timers to get like a time lapse where the camera is turning like this. You can certainly use an egg timer and, you know, tape your camera down to it or whatever, like your GoPro Session. But why not just get something that's made specifically for it? So this one here is basically an egg timer, but it has the proper thread on the top, and it has time increments around the side, and it also has little stabilization feet that pop out. And it also, one thing I like this, especially over an egg timer, is it's got a thread on the bottom as well, so you can thread it right onto a tripod like that, and then you can have this thing sitting wherever you need it to. You can put it on a tripod, you can put it on like a big flexi clamp mount like this. You can put it anywhere you need it. So the way this works is you put the camera on, figure out what you're shooting, whether it's video, time-lapse, or whatever, and then you just turn it like this, and then it just sits there and it will spin very slowly. So right here, it'll do 180 degrees, so a full turn in 30 minutes. Also over here, this big case right here, this is where my Mavic lives. I have a DJI Mavic Pro, one of the original ones. I actually got it just about a year ago now. I've got a big case here, a big hard case that everything sits inside of. This is great for throwing in the footwell of the truck, like in the back of the truck. It's okay, like if the kids step on it. If you saw it up close, you'd see it's all scratched up and dinged up, but that's a good thing. The case takes the damage, the stuff inside does not. I also have the original case, the little soft case that came in the pack. I will throw the drone in here with I've got an extra battery, cables, charger, controller, all that stuff. I'll throw that in here if we're like going on a hike and I know I can use the drone, you know, if I'm not in national parks or federal land of some sort. This is also a water resistant bag. All the zippers are sealed, so this is nice for when you're out and about. But inside the case here, so you can see how everything fits just perfectly inside of here. Got the drone over here, sits down, not gonna scoot around and get damaged. And then underneath it there's room to have the clamp and the ball to protect the camera under it. It'll hold 2 extra batteries. I've only got 1. Holds the camera in a little cutout area here that fits it perfectly. Charger fits, extra cables, the little cables for connecting it to the controller, charging, extra cards, tools, like whatever you need. It fits in this case really, really well. There's a whole lot of cases out there. I don't even remember what this one was. I'll have to look in my Amazon order history. There's all sorts of cases. You can get them bigger, you can get them smaller. I kind of wish this one was a little bit smaller, but it has certainly done the job here for me. Let me see, what else do we have here? Oh, the little flexi mount that I held up a minute ago. It's got a big clamp on it, and it's got a thread here, just a standard tripod thread, so you can, you know, clamp it onto a tree branch and have your camera sitting out at an angle like this. We've used it in the car, we've used it on playgrounds, all sorts of places. It's just one of those really versatile things. I also have a battery. This one's 20,000 milliamp hours, so this thing will charge your phone probably 7 or 8 times. It also has the quick charge, so like the new Samsungs, I think Apple has new quick charge too, so it'll quick charge off of this. It has 2 ports that you can use as well as the charging port, and there's also a little flashlight, which I've never used. Let's take a look at my camera bag. Obviously, a subset of this stuff fits inside of this bag. I carry my lenses with me, of course, and I carry as many of these little extra mounts and memory cards and batteries and all that as I can. This is a sling style backpack, so it has just one strap, so you can wear it on your back so to be out of the way so you can do whatever you need to do, and then you can slide it around and access stuff here on the front. So it's got big zipper pulls, and it has buckles for backup, so you can get into things like that. So they open up on both sides, and the inside is actually one big huge compartment, and it comes with adjustable padded Velcro sticky panels that you can configure however you want on the inside. And one reason I really like this model over some of the other sling style bags is this has, on the outside, you can actually carry a tripod or monopod with this, because these 2 guys here unsnap, and you can put, we'll just do it with the GoPro real quick, you can put something long on the bottom here, so you can snap it in like that, and you just cinch it down. I've had the full tripod that this camera is sitting on. I've had that tripod in here, I've had the monopod hooked up in here. If you bend this little flexi guy the right way, he'll fit in there just fine. So this is nice that it has this long section. Again, carrying a monopod or tripod in this would be kind of a pain, but it's nice to have the option. It keeps your hands free. And speaking of hands free, let's go ahead and set up the GoPro, and then I will show you my little quick disconnect, and we'll take a look at the T7i. Alright guys, we are now on the Hero 7 Black. Hopefully the audio is much better. I know the picture quality is pretty good, And my hand is moving around just a little bit, but it should be pretty stable. I'm filming this in 1080-60, so that's full 1080 HD and 60 frames per second. But this camera will do the hyper smooth stabilization in 1080-60. So right now it's doing a little software thing where it's actually filming a little larger than 1080, but it's using software to crop everything down so it can average out those edges and smooth everything down into a nice steady picture. So hopefully that looks great here. I'll check it out in editing in a couple minutes here. I wanted to show my little quick disconnect. So this is just a normal, like, you know, buckle strap, but I bought a couple of these on Amazon to use with my my Canon, my big T7i. So I've got the male end on here, the female end on the strap on my bag. So what happens is we have 3 kids. We have to chase them around a lot, and Erin can't chase them around by herself. So I'm filming a lot with this big camera, but I can't just, you know, drop it on the ground or set it down somewhere and go chasing off after Ben. So I need to carry it with me, and sometimes I need 2 hands to pick them up. So what I do is I have the snaps on here. See if I can do this one-handed. There we go. So now the camera's stuck to me. Right? It's not going anywhere. It's a nice beefy buckle. I've got it through the little strap there that you would use for, you know, a normal neck strap for a camera. I really like having this because I can hook it up real quick, hands-free, can go chase after Ben or whatever, grab him, and then when I can get back to it, I just come in here and I can unbuckle it. It's hard with one hand. There we go. So I can unbuckle it and then it's free again. So all it has is this little thing here and this little buckle here on the camera. So now let's take a look at the T7i real quick. All right, so now I am filming from the back of the GoPro. Hopefully the audio is still good. The picture is fantastic. So we'll see how the audio is when I get into editing. And hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. So this is the Canon T7i. Not a particularly expensive camera, but it is one of the better ones for doing vlogging style video. It also shoots pictures pretty well. You can see the 10-18 lens on here. This thing goes pretty wide. I've got it all the way out at 10 right now. So you can see the 10 is pretty wide. I mean, you can see kind of the whole counter space here. So that's why we use it for the vlogging. And also this screen here flips all the way around. So with that screen flipped around, you can actually see yourself. And this is super, super wide. And then you can bring it in, that lens in, so you can see the GoPro here, and you can see the screen looking back at us. So that's really handy. That's one reason that vloggers like this one a lot. So you can kind of see what's going on. Up on top, you can also see we've got a Rode Video Micro. It is a non-powered microphone. It just runs in here and collects the audio. Some of the powered ones, they're going to have better audio, but people forget to turn them on all the time, and then you don't have any audio, and that would be awful. All right, thank you guys for watching this gear video. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully it's informative and it helps you if you're looking into getting into this sort of stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, hit the little notification bell so you know when we post videos. Also, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/5togo. There will also be links down below. We're doing a lot of cool stuff over there. We're going to have patron-only videos. We have a couple already, patron-only posts. There's all sorts of cool stuff. Depending on what you sign up for, you might even get postcards in the mail. Be able to do live streams, Q&As, chat with us whenever, do video chats, whatever you want to do. So check us out on Patreon. Hopefully you'll join our family and we can start doing some cool stuff together. So we will see you guys down the road. Have a good day.
Alrighty.
Should I make an announcement or something?
You can. Dan from the Glass
welcome
family.
You to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pink Pennsylvania.
Pink Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there we go.
It's for everybody. He's going to add Pennsylvania to our map.
Don't mess it up.
Do a good job. Don't mess it up.
Look, it doesn't match.
I know, it's weird. Is it? Oh, is it a weird? No, that's how they cut it out.
Yeah, they cut it out weird. All right, so I want to make sure I try to get it close.
Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. No, it's good.
How's that?
Awesome.
There you go.
Pennsylvania's on the map.
Welcome to PA.
Thanks. Thanks a bunch. This is where our journey kind of began, was in this area, looking at RVs at the Hershey show last year. So
Picked a good model.
Yeah. What do you think, Ben? Do you like Pennsylvania? A dirty child? So dirty.